Hello and welcome to Mr. Peacock's Square Plays of week number 1 of the 2014 season. Football against the number, coming to you live from Midtown Atlanta. Real quick before we dive into our picks this week, I wanted to discuss something that you're going to notice as being a little bit different on the program this year. In the past, and especially last year, I felt like I was a little bit too reliant on technical data, on past performances and things like that when I was making these picks. And I think sometimes that led me astray. I kind of had this realization last year going into the bowl season, and I thought, I need to look at the fundamentals of these teams a little bit better. And that's what I did for the bowl season. I went either 7-3 or 8-2 against the number in my bowl picks. I can't remember exactly what I think it was 7-3. I can't remember exactly what it was. Looking at it that way, and so that's really what I'm going to try to focus on doing this year. You come to me at night when all the world is sleeping tight and lie beside me to the early morning dew, or you come to me at the end of the week for winners. And I got to do a better job of giving those to you. Okay? I mean, you're never going to see me sweat, okay, figuratively speaking. But I will tell you that last year there was a great deal of frustration and disappointment with the performance, and it's going to get better this year. I can promise you that. Those two things, frustration and disappointment, can either crush a man's resolve or they can enhance it. And in my case, it's been the latter. So with that in mind, let's go ahead and get this 2014 season underway. We're coming right out of the gate with my very favorite background music. And we are leaving our plush Midtown Atlanta studio, and we are driving approximately 1.5 miles south down Northside Drive to the Georgia Dome, where tonight at 8 p.m. Eastern on ESPN, I like the Ole Miss Rebels laying a robust 11 points against the Boise State Broncos. This next statement I'm going to say, I've said it out loud a couple times before I went live this morning, just because it sounded so stupid I didn't want to start laughing when I said it for real. I think that Boise State is overvalued in this game because of what their name is, and I think that Ole Miss is undervalued in this game because of what their name is. Okay? I was not impressed with what I saw out of I know that sounds silly, but it's true. I was not impressed with what I saw last year out of Boise State in the bowl game right after Peterson had left. And you understand that there's going to be some distractions and everything that come along with the transition, but for the first time in forever, really, it seemed like they had some discipline problems. They didn't show up, and they just weren't competitive. That was a major red flag to me. And, again, like I say, I know there's some distractions and everything, but when you take a step back, though, I think you would have to agree that Chris Peterson is the toughest coach to replace in America from where he was last year. And I don't care, I don't think there's any way that Boise State does not take a step back. Ole Miss, on the other hand, is the real dark horse, I think, in the SEC West. I've heard a lot of people talk about Mississippi State. I think that's misplaced. I think that the team in Oxford is the team that you really got to keep an eye on. Bo Wallace is a better quarterback than Dak Prescott. Wallace's performance in the Egg Bowl notwithstanding last year. And I really like Ole Miss's skill guys. In this game, I think Ole Miss has a really good advantage up front as well on both lines of scrimmage. I think that this is going to be a really good season to be an Ole Miss fan, put it that way. I'm calling on Ole Miss to knock off one of the Alabama schools this year, and they're going to do that, but I digress. I think that Ole Miss is going to kick off this memorable campaign that they're about to embark on with a resounding exclamation point style win tonight in the Georgia Dome. So take the Ole Miss Rebels laying 11 points down there in Atlanta on the carpet. And an interesting fact about this game, Ole Miss is the only SEC team out of all 14. Ole Miss is the only SEC team that has never played in the Georgia Dome, believe it or not. So they're going to obviously change that tonight. Game number 2. We are going to Coleman Young International Airport in Detroit, Michigan. And then we're getting in a rental car and we're driving down to Ann Arbor for a 12 p.m. noontime kick on Saturday between the Appalachian State Mountaineers and the Michigan Wolverines. This has nothing to do with 2007, okay? But I like Appalachian State catching 34.5 points in this game, and I'm going to tell you why. Last year was App State's final season in Division I AA. They redshirted something like 24 players last year, incoming freshmen. And to the extent that a college team can bag a season, that's basically what Appalachian State did. They were not eligible for the 1AA playoff last year, and they basically just put all their eggs into the 2014 basket. So I think when you look back at Appalachian State, you see that they went 4-8. I think that that's very deceptive. I was impressed. Georgia played Appalachian State last year in November, and I was really impressed with the way that App State handled that game as far as just a composure standpoint and stuff like that. I mean, they kept it close and kept it competitive in the first 30 minutes, and that was impressive to me. Granted, it was a little bit of a soft spot for UGA, but still, Appalachian State was not overwhelmed by that atmosphere at all, and I guarantee you they're not going to be overwhelmed by the atmosphere in the Big House on Saturday either. I think Appalachian State is taking a far more talented team up there than they put on the field last season. For Michigan's part, I'm sure that they've been hearing all week long, Appalachian State, 2007. They're, watching highlights of that blocked field goal and all that kind of stuff, but you can tell college kids something until you're blue in the face. The fact is, Michigan has Notre Dame on deck next weekend. That's a major rival, nationally televised game, and in no way, shape, form, or fashion do I believe that Appalachian State is getting Michigan's full attention. Michigan is definitely getting Appalachian State's full attention, okay? And, I don't expect the Mountaineers to win this game outright, but I really like them plus 34.5. Game number 3. If you ever go to Houston, you better walk right, and you better not stagger, and you better not fight. 9 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. local on Saturday night. I like the LSU Fighting Bengal Tigers laying 5 points against the Wisconsin Badgers. This thing's ticked up a little bit in the last couple of days. It was 4 when I looked at it on Tuesday. It's up to 5 now. Doesn't bother me a bit. I think this is a 10-point win for LSU. Both teams have some question marks as far as their quarterbacks go. When that's the case, I tend to just look at the team that I know that's more athletic, and I know that it's LSU in that case. Dangerous is a Les Miles team that comes flying in under the radar, and I think that's what you're getting with LSU here as well. Houston is a heck of a lot closer to Baton Rouge than it is to Madison, Wisconsin, and I expect LSU to have a pretty significant crowd edge in this game as well. I think that Wisconsin's a very physical team, and I think Wisconsin's a very good team, and they're going to win a lot of games this year. But I think LSU's going to be a little bit too much for them. If you go back and look, too, and this, I guess, is getting into past stuff, but if you go back and look, too, LSU really shows up in these kind of games, these marquee season openers, and I expect Saturday to be no different. Game number 4. We are going on Labor Day night to Louisville, Kentucky. Yes, I've been there. Not to the stadium, but to the horse track. More fun there anyway. This is an 8 p.m. kickoff, and I think this is on ESPN. I'm not 100% sure. I like the Miami Hurricanes catching 3.5 points at Louisville on Monday night. This is pretty much just a pick against Bobby Petrino and Todd Grantham, to be real honest. I think we've seen it a couple times with Petrino when he takes over a new position. He runs a lot of people off. He's a jerk, and the team takes a major step back. I'm sure you all read the article that came out a couple of weeks ago in Sports Illustrated that, speaking of all the dissension between Grantham and Petrino, I don't really know what to make of that. The more interesting thing in that article, I thought, was the number of players that have left the Louisville program and some of the comments that they made about Petrino. The fact is, Louisville was 12-1 last year. I'm sure that their players are sitting there thinking, we don't really need this guy's help. Speaking of Petrino, when he comes in, he's a prick, he's a jerk. He runs people off. He's radically going to change. He's going to change their offense radically. And then we know what Todd Grantham's going to do on defense. He's going to put a scheme out there that practically nobody can understand. And I don't care what kind of veterans they have coming back on defense. They're basically all freshmen playing under this thing. I don't think that Miami's a great team. I know they're not. But I think that this is a real good spot for the Hurricanes. Don't give me any guff about the Russell Athletic Bowl last year. Okay, that was a blowout win for Louisville. I sat right here in this chair and I handicapped that game correctly as well. And I'm handicapping this one correctly too. Miami plus 3.5 on Monday night. And maybe when we get into 2015, ESPN will cease subjecting the rest of the nation to ACC football. That'd be really nice for me. So real quickly to recap, week number 1, we're getting it started off tonight. We like the Ole Miss Rebels laying 11 points against the Broncos from Boise State down on the carpet here in Atlanta, Georgia in the Georgia Dome. Game number 2, we like the Appalachian State Mountaineers coming up from Boone, North Carolina. Not a whole lot of direct flights from Boone to Detroit. I like Appalachian State catching 34.5 points. You can catch it at high noon. I'll be at the tailgate. Game number 3, the midnight special. Not really. It'll be over after midnight. I like the LSU Fighting Bengal Tigers, the boys in the yellow breeches, laying 5 points against the Wisconsin Badgers. And finally, Monday Night Football. I like the Miami Hurricanes, the U, catching 3.5 points against the Louisville Cardinals. So I wish you the best of luck. It sure is good to be back. This is my favorite weekend of the year, one of my favorite weekends of the year. Yeah, but hell, they're all fun. It's just a great time of year, though, and can't wait to get this thing underway. So again, I wish you the best of luck. I'll be back with you next week on Friday.